Do you remember and long for a time where you were following a diet program perfectly? You were in the zone, you were not falling off the wagon, feeling great, and you thought, all right, this is finally it, it's gonna happen. And then suddenly it was gone, and you cannot figure out how to get back there. Well, if so, this video is for you. I'm gonna give you 4 powerful mindset tips so that you can not only lose the weight, but stop the yo-yo dieting roller coaster and keep the weight off for good this time. My name is Debbie Thompson, and I help busy, high-achieving women over 40 to lose weight for the last time and stop carrying around the burden, shame, and overwhelm of weight struggles and feel strong, confident, and beautiful as you age. If that's what you need, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video every week. The women in my Breakthrough Coaching Program have used the tips that I'm going to share in this video to break free of their mindset blocks that keep them stuck in weight battles, and now it's your turn. Tip number 1, trade judgment for curiosity. Over 90% of the people who go on a diet end up gaining back all the weight and even more sometimes. So clearly, there is nothing wrong with you. It's not you that is weak, defective, frail, or anything else. So instead of having negative self-talk, judgment over yourself, or feeling like there is something wrong with you, become a researcher about the approaches you've tried. What happens to you body, mind, emotionally whenever you try these things? For example, dieting is actually one of the leading causes of eating disorders and weight gain because of the level of restriction and deprivation, naturally increasing hunger and cravings. So that's one example of you reflecting on what's going on instead of just blaming your lack of willpower or follow through. Tip number 2, don't look for or use the same kind of approach but expect different results. Right? You've probably heard that saying that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, for some reason, we keep doing that with diets and, again, being down on ourselves that they don't work. Okay. Or we say the diet actually worked, but I just couldn't stay on it. That means the diet didn't work. If it's not a long-term solution, it's not a solution. Okay. So it seems really obvious that all we need is a set of do this, don't do that, eat at this time, eat these foods, do these exercises, and it should be easy to follow. But if it was easy, everyone would do it once and we'd all succeed. So this is where we again get back to the mindset component of this. Food, as I'm sure you've noticed, carries a lot of emotion to it, such as what you were taught about it as a child. How was it used for reward or even punishment? How is it used with holidays and celebrations? How did you then develop your relationship with it based on what you were taught and either agreed to or didn't like and rejected, and maybe you've gone to the opposite extreme? How did you start using it as a way to temporarily soothe you with stress or emotion? Diets don't have an answer for that. So please don't just go back to the how-tos again as a way to try to solve it again this time. Something else that's involved here that diets don't answer is our body image. Again, what did you see about how people took care of themselves when you were growing up? What were you taught about taking care of yourself? What kind of body image baggage do you maybe have based on what you were taught or just the society around us? Again, diets don't answer that. You need to work it through. You may also have a unique lifestyle or specific challenges such as traveling for work, long commutes, special needs in your family, things like that, again, following a simple how-to is not answering, and that's a reason it's really hard for you to get back on the wagon because what you did before isn't applicable to your current lifestyle. So instead, I highly recommend that you start immersing yourself in a much more holistic and life-giving approach to taking care of yourself, which does then help you to become the size that your body wants to be. I have a ton of videos here on the channel, and I also have blog posts and social media posts, so I really encourage you and invite you to use the links below to follow me on social media. You need to start getting different messages in your head. Tip number 3, practice metacognition, or thinking about your thinking. This is sort of part of mindfulness as well, which maybe you've heard of a little bit or maybe you've practiced. When we meditate or use mindfulness, we're sort of stepping back and observing thoughts like they're up here in a little thought bubble instead of just doing whatever we think, and this is a game changer. So if you think about when you drive somewhere that you've driven 100 times before and you get there and you don't even remember driving, that is the power of how programming and repetition and our subconscious can rule us and can make us do things unless we bring the thoughts out into the forefront. So again, back to the previous tip, what you were told and taught and saw as a child, or what you started to develop because of or in spite of that, that has become your autopilots and your subconscious programming. So you want to take that out and you want to look at it and think about it. Instead of just being driven around, you become the driver again. So you're going to write things down that you think and believe about food, such as food is comfort, food is reward, food is my friend, I can't have blank in the house, or I can't control myself around it, or even this is too hard, it's too hard, I don't have self-control. Write them down. Use it for several days. Write them as you think about them. And then again, you're sort of taking them out of there and looking at them. From there, to start challenging those thoughts a little bit and reframing them. You may have heard of Byron Katie, who has something called The Work. And I will post the link to that below. But it's a 4-step process. And the first question that you ask yourself in the work is this thought true? So I often do that through the day. It doesn't tend to be about food anymore, but it could be about anything. I don't feel like doing the laundry, or laundry is too hard, or, I'm too tired to do blank. I stop and ask myself, is that true? No, it usually isn't true. So that's just my favorite question there, but you'll see in the work that there's you delve into it, any kind of really sabotaging thought with this process that can really start to break you out of this subconscious programming. And tip number 4, you do not need anything outside of you to get you motivated, get you in the zone, or stay there. This is a clincher of all of the other things. Hear me out. I know that it felt like because you were in a program before that worked so perfectly, the system worked, the plan worked, the schedule worked, the accountability group worked, the motivation that the person gave you worked. And so it seemed like those things outside of you were what kept you on track. Those things can work, absolutely. But again, unless they permanently work, they actually don't work. And you might have even tried to return to that. I remember I used to do that. So like if a certain workout plan worked for me, back in the day, I remember doing Jane Fonda's literal album on my turntable. If that worked for me, and I tried it again a year later or a couple years later, and it didn't work anymore because I wasn't motivated to do it anymore, or my eating was crappy, so the exercising wasn't helping enough, I'm lost because, okay, Jane Fonda worked before, why isn't it working now? So please know again how normal that is, and don't let that keep you stuck. Here's the deal. Those things, what they did at this certain window in time, when all the conditions were right, that system or workout plan or accountability group or that person on social media that motivated us, it worked for a while because they made you feel like it. So what you're trying to get to now is feeling like it. And that's where this breaks down. It's an innocent misunderstanding that we have to get ourselves to feel like it before we can get back on the wagon. Once you get past realizing that you don't have to feel like it anymore, you don't have to look for anything outside of you, because you can stop, you can use that metacognition, you can hear what kind of chatter your brain is telling you, And you can also realize that there's this little sliver of you that is known all along. I know what to do, I just can't make myself do it. Or I know if I just do a little bit, it'll help me. It might not take off 10 pounds this week, but it'll help me. I do realize that if I get off the couch and go work out, I'll feel better. That little part of you has never left. So this is the problem. We have forgotten that we can listen to that little part of us. You might have, like on a little pie chart, every bit of that pie chart except one little sliver. All that other part might not feel like it. It might have no motivation whatsoever. But that little part that always knows that it's a good idea, it's never left you. We keep listening to the big part of the pie chart. And we keep waiting for that little part of the pie chart to grow and take up the whole pie chart to where we know and we feel like it and we're in the zone. So what you want to do is stop looking for anything outside of you to make your pie chart look like you want to do this again, or that the accountability is going to force you to follow through. Because again, what happens when that accountability goes away? You cannot depend on anything else or anyone else. You can always listen to that little sliver that never leaves you and is really sure that it knows what's good for you and what's right for you. So stop trying to convince yourself that you have to feel like it. So which one spoke to you most? Was it trading judgment for curiosity, not trying the same approach again and expecting a different result, practicing thinking about your thinking, or not expecting yourself to feel like it and looking for something outside of you for the answer? If you are a woman over 40 and you want to know how to get out of this yo-yo dieting weight loss struggle for good, book your free 15-minute screening call today where we can see if it's right for you. The link for that is in the description below. If you like this video, please make sure to like it so I know what's helpful. Subscribe and send this video to other women because I know how many are struggling. Take care, stay well, and I'll see you in the next video.